Previously on BLAZEPLAYS. Fuck this level! And now the thrilling conclusion. Fuck this level! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fire Emblem. The fuck this level! Blazing Swords, alright. Just after chapter 14, that running gag. Ugh. But I say that for a reason because, Nino and Jaffar have set out to take down Sophia as part of their mission. Eliwood's going along to stop them. Then we all come to the sudden realization that fuck this level. Oh god. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the parts most people in the comment section have been looking forward to in this LP because this level is infamous for being not only the worst level in this game, but one of the worst levels in Fire Emblem, period. Personally, I don't think it's I'll get more into it later, but I don't think it's the absolute one of the top 5 worst levels. I mean, I put it in my top 15, came in at number 9, but remember that was before any of the that was before Echoes and Binding Blade and Genealogy and those games. I'm sorry, those games have some pretty shit map design. And in fact, that was even before Fates, which, as great as the map design is, especially in Conquest, that game is no stranger to shitty ass maps. So it's definitely one of the worst, but I wouldn't say it's top 10 worthy. Maybe, if I read to top 15, it wouldn't be there. Might still be. I'd definitely say it's the worst chapter in this game. I'll explain more why later, but it's not the absolute bottom of the barrel in terms of chapters. There are much, much worse. I mean, come on, a good chunk of Binding Blade was worse than this. So, yeah. As you can see with the story going on, Zephyr is pretty much Murdoch's been pulled away from Zephyr to do duties, and he's by himself. There are no guards, and it should be an easy mission. But what kind of throws Nino off is what Zephyr goes through right here. And this is actually one of the Zephyr's shining moments, and also in the long run, one of the saddest. Let's see, shall we? I wonder. I don't know if someone's data mined this, so you can if you access the ROM files. Does Zephyr have any stats? I'm pretty sure if I actually checked the NPC it would, but I wonder if Zephyr did have any stats and how good are they? Because you'll be hilarious if Zephyr had unbelievable stats. The enemy tries to kill him, he's just no. It's they can't hit him, and he just retaliates and kills him with his bare fists. So it is quite sad because Zephyr just wants to. He is pushing himself to be better and better, despite the fact that already he's a prodigy. He's downright fantastic, and all he wants at the end of the day is just to have his parents love each other. All his parents, even his stepmom, that's Guinevere's mum, because, and stuff like that. They just want everyone to be together and happy. Zephyr doesn't care for himself or the title. He just wants the whole family to be happy. And, the parents are the ones that make it happen. Because Guinevere wants the same thing. She just wants to be with everyone, but, surprise, motherfucker! He did. Well, he's not dead, he's just unconscious. By some time, you mean a couple of minutes? Yeah, now Nino has to kill him. But it's not so easy because, all Zephyr was asking for is to be loved by, his father and have the whole family be together. That's the exact same thing Nino wants. Exact same thing, so she can't bring it in herself to kill him because, simply put, that'd be like killing herself. And ultimately, Nino's not that type of person. Even though it's what she wanted, at the end of the day, it's wrong to take someone whose life, she's not. Zephyr's done nothing wrong at this point. I mean, to be fair, if Nino did take his life, she could have actually saved us a lot of shit. So, I bet, so, in this way, Nino kind of did the wrong thing, but ultimately, it's not Nino's fault. No one knew Zephyr would turn out like this. If Desmond was a better father, this wouldn't have happened, but, And even Nino's willing to accept her death because, the prince means a lot to people. She knows she's not as important as him. Yeah. And in most cases, Jaffar would just straight up do it, but here he can't because Nino's the only one that gives him any semblance of reason to live and thing. So even though this whole escapade has been really short, it's been really effective. This is in my opinion, this is one of the best moments in Fire Emblem. This short little campaign with these two characters is done so well. because Nino's optimism and love works off on Jaffar, and it should change Jaffar into it gives him like redemption in a way. And even though Nina wants to become a part of Jaffar and Sonya's world, ultimately she can't because the stuff she would do would betray herself. And I love that about this game. It's a small part of the game. It didn't need to be there, but the fact that it was is so good. I absolutely love it. I love both of these characters so much. And Ursa's here, like, why the fuck is this girl still alive? And it's kind of funny because, even though, everyone's like, we're supposed to kill Nino, Jaffar's like, touch her and I'll fuck her. She's like, okay, I'm gonna, sit this one out. Because here's the thing, Nino may not be much, but no one dare fuck with Jaffar. Like, Jaffar's legit terrifying. There's one person you don't fuck with Jaffar. But still thinking about the whole didn't let Safil die thing. Oh, Hex is probably like, fuck, as he's dying, he's like, fuck you, Nino! Maybe that's why Nino didn't come back for Binding Blade, because like, damn, it's like, what if she confronted Safil? It's like, I should have killed you when I had the chance, if I knew you were going to become like this. What have I done? Or if Jaffar came back for Binding Blade, it's like, time to finish what I started, just crits him, dead. So, the mission is, right now, Nino and Jaffar are trying to escape. Jaffar's fighting off the bad guys because he's Jaffar. Nino is in a safer spot, but not completely safe, and they're still trying to kill Safil. So, as you can guess, we've got 3 people to keep alive. I mean, to be fair, you don't have to keep Nino and Jaffar alive. Safil's the main objective, but why would you not want to keep this... Pardon me. Why would you not want to keep them alive? I mean, come on. Also, they doused the torches, so you know what that means. Fog of war, people! So yeah, they arrived just in time. Oh, how long is it? No, I think this is the last time you see them with those damn stupid jackets on. I think. They might. I think they ditched them at the end of this one, or they have them in like thingamajig. Oh yeah. Because we've been using Merlinus a lot, and it's a good thing too that he thingamajig. So he goes from a tent to a caravan. So now he's mobile. You don't have to equip him as a unit. Oh, look at him. Yeah, he's mobile at the moment. And he gets no boost. Worst upgrade ever! So now he's just mobile. And you can deploy him like that. So anyway. Night of Farewells. This chapter is bad. I think it is the worst in this game, and I think it's an overall bad chapter. In regards to why it sucks, well, let's break it down, shall we? Okay, so first thing. There's just a lot of asshole the whole thing is a rescue mission. So, you've got to reach the Safil and guard him. That's not too bad until you realize this is one of the biggest maps in Blazing Sword. This is like Binding Blade big. And to get to Safil, you got to go through a lot of shit. So that's already strike 1. That's annoying. Second, Fog of War. Instant strike 2. That does make things more annoying. I mean, to be fair, you have access to torch spells, and in this game, the torch staff, is much better utilized because you can use it from a distance. Also, this is quite late, so not only will you have a lot of units to choose from, but most of them should be relatively strong. So that's not too. At least you have the manpower. You have the manpower, but at the same time, this level likes its heroes. So another thing, in order to what do we call it? In order to get the sub-chapter, you need to keep both Nino and Jaffar alive. So that's kind of annoying, but I'll get back to that later. And the other thing that I think the thing that kills most people this chapter is that Ursula's got bolting. And Ursula's already quite a strong boss, so that really, really, really puts a damper on things. If Ursula didn't have bolting, it wouldn't be so bad, but the bolting is a bit of a bitch. So they've got that thing's going against it. The 15 turn limit, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's still, like, if there wasn't a turn limit, you just rout the enemy, but keeps Safil guarded. I think it would have been less, it would have been less stressful, because people probably either, they wouldn't be in such a hurry to guard Safil, or once they got there, they could slow things down and really go out of their way to finish up the enemies, but take their time, but that's not the case. Also, because of the way this chapter's designed, I'm going to tell you what, if anyone's planning to play Blazing Sword, make sure you've got at least a few high-level mounted units on your team, otherwise you're fucked, okay? Because, like you said, if you can't get to Jaffar and Nino quick enough, either they're gonna die or Saphir's gonna die. At the end of the day, someone is going to die. But, with that said, I will say this chapter does do some things well. For one thing, the AI is so much better than what we're used to in Fire Emblem games. Jaffar is not only smart enough to fight the right enemies and heal when he needs to, but he is, we'll talk about him as a unit later, he is strong enough to take on literally anyone that comes at him. Even the Paladin, which can hurt him, he can kill anyone that fights him. Jaffar is that good, so you don't have to worry about Jaffar too much. And at least on normal mode, the enemy are not very aggressive towards Nino, so rescuing her isn't easy. I will say though, right now, Hector Hard mode this chapter is a real bitch, because not only do you have less units, but if I recall correctly, they're very aggressive towards Nino, so rescuing her is much more difficult. I can't fully remember, but off the top of my head, that's 28. Off the top of my head, yeah, like I said, there's one bishop right here, but that's no problem because Nino's a mage, she's got good resistance, but what do you call it? Yeah, so in Hector Hard mode, this chapter is definitely more difficult, which I'm not looking forward to the Hector Hard mode playthrough, but regardless, what else is good about this chapter? It does lead on to one of the best, my favorite chapter in the game afterwards, if you do all the thingamajigs, and to the chapter's credit, the unit variety here is really good. You got magic users, you got mounted units, you got knights, you got heroes. There's mode likes his heroes. See, Jaffar's smart enough to go for the archer and also put himself in cover. And the units you gain here, well, Jaffar specifically is fantastic. Also, if you notice, his critical animation looked a bit different in the background, didn't it? That's because Jaffar has the only, if I remember, the only skill in the game, lethality, which is basically an insta-kill, that's what it's called. He's the only unit, I believe, or the only class in this game of the Assassins to have a skill. Sacred Stones will bring skills back with more of them, but it's not until Tellius where they bring them back full force like the way it did in Genealogy. I gotta play Fire Emblem Switch now. Yeah, I'm keeping track of the critical thing. Lynn told me, play Fire Emblem Switch. Or, technically, if you want to get technical, play Fire Emblem Warriors. No, because then you've got the Count Tokyo Mirage session. You know what, Fire Emblem Switch is. Okay, alright Lynn, when Fire Emblem Switch comes out, whatever it may be. I'm looking forward to seeing what direction they go with that game, because they could surprise us entirely. Yeah, I don't think it's as fast, just better Constitution. I have to play Path of Radiance again. They really want me to play Path of Radiance. Hey, I want to play Path of Radiance too. I love Path of Radiance. It's my second favorite Fire Emblem game as of now. Good level up too. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so what else? Also, as well, this chapter is pretty bad. If this was Binding Blade, this chapter would be so much worse, and I want to go into why. Because there goes Jaffar. Why I think it would be worse? One thing, the bolting wouldn't slow Ursula down nearly as much, so she could probably double us, which would be a bitch. 2, something tells me this map would be even bigger. 3, well, to be fair, mounted units of Binding Blade are already very, they're kind of like the ideal units. Also, most units of Binding Blade have shit resistance, so that bolting is really gonna hurt. And something tells me there'll be less of a turn limit. And something else tells me that you've got to bring certain units to unlock the Guiding Chapter while keeping Nino and Jaffar alive. And also the enemy is more aggressive towards Nino and the AI are more stupid. Something tells me Binding Blade would have done that, because Binding Blade can be quite the arsehole sometimes. At least that's what I think. Also, in this chapter, because it's quite hard, I wasn't shy about giving my units some of the better weapons, so quite a few of them are short spears. So even though this chapter is the worst in the game, and it's pretty bad, I don't think it's the worst in Fire Emblem. Like, I've seen worse in Tellius, I've seen worse in Awakening, I've seen worse in Fates, I have seen, and I still miss, that sucks. I have seen worse in Echoes, I've seen worse in Genealogy, I have seen worse in Binding Blade, I've seen so much worse in Binding Blade, I've seen worse in Radiant Dawn, I've seen worse overall. If this is the bottom of the barrel as far as Fire Emblem 7 goes, in terms of chapters, but it doesn't compare to the bottom of the barrel compared to most other Fire Emblem games. So, I've always been a fan of Blazing Soul's level design because it's overall very consistent and mostly pretty good. This one may suck, but compared to everything else, it might as well be chapter... I'm trying to think of a really good chapter. It might as well be Blood Runs Red. It might as well be that chapter. We'll talk about the units when we get around to them. So yeah, like, even then, he's still smart enough. Go for the archer and stay within thingamajig. And if he gets on low health, he will heal himself. That's why I really like Jaffar is not stupid. In fact, if you probably waited long enough, he could wipe out everyone. But that's not the ideal idea. There goes the girl. Okay, so now that I finished talking about the chapter, something I do want to talk about, which I missed out last time, was the new heroes banner, which is the Black Knight and the 3 other heroes from Path of Radiance. The banner's pretty cool, though admittedly I felt so depressed because on the morning that it was available, I did 3 rounds of summoning. And throughout all 3 rounds, the only new units I got was a 4-star Cordelia and a 4-star Lucius. Everything else was a fucking duplicate, and I got so upset. Especially because, and this game loves to do with this, I keep getting 3-star Robins, which annoys me because of that bloody cutscene where it looks like he's going to be like, oh god, it's brand spanking new. I know, to be fair, if you see like the dust cloud, there's no dust cloud when you summon units, you tell they're going to be 3-star. But whenever I see that opening cutscene bit with like characters, I'm like, they should be 5-star, I'm sorry. Like, I got the same with the 4-star Moth, and I'm like, no, and Camilla's like, I'm sorry, the characters who have the opening cutscenes, they should be 5-star only, in my opinion. And it annoyed me because I was like, I got 2 parries. I mean, I like parry, and I'm training one. I've got a level 32 parry, which is good. So, and I got 2 more 4-stars, and I got just so many other units. Like, I have these units. Give me someone new. That's the thing that annoys me about Heroes. It loves to give me duplicates, and it annoys me. But going back to the banner itself, so obviously it's a Path of Radiance focused banner, not just Tellius. The choices are actually pretty good. Like, Nephany makes sense because Nephany's just cool. Either Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn, she's just cool, but Path of Radiance I'll go with. Elincia, again, makes sense. I think a Radiant Dawn incarnation is better, but, she still plays a massive part of Path of Radiance. Oscar's the only one... Okay, I've got to play Binding Blade now. Oscar is the only one I question. And the reason is well... sort of question, because in Path of Radiance, he is a bit more present in the game, and he's definitely one of the, like, whenever I actually play through Path of Radiance, most people use Oscar, because he is actually pretty good. Radiant Dawn, not so much. Like, Oscar, I barely use Oscar in Radiant Dawn. I say that until I do the, I don't know if I mentioned this before. If I did, well, I'm sorry if I mentioned it again. But I'm actually doing 3 runs of Radiant Dawn for the Let's Play channel. An easy mode run, a standard run, and a lunatic run. The easy mode run I want to do because Radiant Dawn has a lot of bad units that if I don't do it, I won't show off. And also, because of Radiant Dawn's endgame, you can only allow certain units in. And in every single time I run through that game, I can't take Marcia, I can't take Kieran, I can't take Khalil, I can't take Sigrun or Tanith, I can't take, like, trying to think of another character who I use a lot but I don't take. Can't take Mia. I don't ever take Aaron or Edward or Nolan. I don't take any of them because I just have better units. But doing an easy mode run, not only can I use bad units, but I can take the ones that I don't usually take to the end game into the end game, and then with the normal run, then just take my favorite units, and with the lunatic run, I take the ones that actually stand a chance of surviving. Which pretty much means, just give me the fucking Lagoose Kings! Oh, this poor soul going after Nino. So, now I've got to play Fire Emblem 4. So currently it's Fire Emblem Switch, Path of Radiance, Blinding Blade, and then Nino and the Holy War. Oh yeah, they have thieves in this chapter trying to pilfer stuff, but don't worry, I get them. Yeah, that's another thing that's annoying. If you're not fast enough, the thieves can take some of your shit. And there's a Delphi shield in this chapter, so don't fucking lose it. Unlike Blinding Blade, I ain't losing that. What was I talking about? Yeah, the banner. Oscar, like, I thought it was kind of weird because there's also another Lance unit. But before that, let's talk about Nino. So, new unit, Nino. Nino is essentially the Est of this game. She comes in with low level, late game, but she has overall very good growth rates. And I say overall because they're overall like 50 plus. Yeah, it's like, face back. Psycho, did you get all that? No, you just faded to black again. Stop doing that in this game. Fading to black doesn't equal exposition. No, but, so she comes in, to be fair, she's level 5 mage, which, that does sound pretty bad, and it is. But her speed, if I remember, her speed and her luck stat are actually pretty good. I think her speed starting out is like 11, which is pretty cool. And her growth rates, aside from defense, like, are good as well. Like, I think her highest is 60, but everything else is around the 50s, which doesn't sound like much, but having at 50% growth rates across the board, that just means it's going to have very solid level ups. And in regards to Nino as a unit, she starts bad, but once you start leveling her up, she becomes very, 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 very well-rounded and solid, aside from defense, obviously. But, like, she becomes just really solid. Her magic, her speed, her skill, and luck, they all kind of like balance each other out, and they all just become really good. So if you're willing to train her, she can be pretty damn potent. You'll be surprised. But with that said, I'd still consider her a bad unit in a more objective sense, because here's the thing: it's not so much. It's like the low start time is bad, but the main thing she's got going against her is that by this point, you've got Urk, you've got Lucius, you've got Canis, you've got Pent, and if you want to count Priscilla and Sarah at your disposal, and by then they'll be just much stronger. Like right now I've got Lucius just wrecking all kinds of shit. And like while Lucius is a light mage and Diana's a dark mage, Pent and Urk will be trained more, and even then, not only that, but both of them are built to be very well-rounded, the same way Nino is very well-rounded. So ultimately, she just becomes another Pent or Urk. Granted, she'd probably be better in the long run, but still, at that point, you might as well just have either Pent or Urk. But with that said, if you can get the game, thankfully, if you take on the next chapter, try not to train her in this chapter. That's a bad idea if you ask me. If you are able to, so it just throws the hand axe. Die! Oh, okay, now I got my Sacred Stones. Because in the next chapter there's quite a few Wyverns, Cavaliers, and Pirates, all of which, not only are they not too fast, but they're pretty crappy resistance. So if you can capitalize on that with Nino and bring Ninian with you so you can make her dance, if you can capitalize on that with Nino, then you can easily level her up. And once she gets, I'd say about 3 or 4 level ups, she can start being more potent. And then if you just keep her safe, train out for a good amount of levels, until she gets to her teens, like level 13 plus, then she can start being independent, and once you promote her, she'll be much stronger. And I finally get at least in it, but at this point I don't need it. So she can work out in the long run, but on a more objective sense, there's not much point in using her. With that said, I love Nino. She's one of my favorite characters in this game, because even though she isn't a very good unit, training her up, she can be really potent, which, if you're asking, yes, we are doing in this playthrough. We are training Nino, and she does become awesome, I will tell you right now. I love Nino mainly for her character, because despite having such a harsh life, because her mum's a bitch and is evil, she's like one of the most useless members of the Fang in the end. And this goes actually with the bolting. She's one of the most useless members of the Fang, and when you find out what happened to her, it's really awful. She's so optimistic and cheery, and such a kind heart that she kind of like, despite the Black Fang being filled with just real downers and just being a very down place, and what the fuck, I can't remember, 26, she's that light that, she has that light that shines through, and she's absolutely adorable. And I like in her support just how optimistic she is, even though she is very sensitive. Like, if something bad, like, doesn't go her way, or people do something that she doesn't like, she does get really upset very easily, but that's kind of, it makes sense for a child. So Nino is absolutely lovely. She's one of my favorite characters in this game. I adore Nino. And I also love her even more now, because in Hero, she's pretty much my best unit. I'm sorry, like, it's next to her or Brave Lynn. Nino's like my fucking best unit. Like, I love you, Gwendolyn, but Nino, Jesus Christ, she pretty much just made me thanks to her, I can do lunatic mode. So I love Nino a lot. I really do love Nino. I will also talk about Jaffar when we get him, even though we don't technically get him until the next chapter, but because that's a Q&A session, I'd rather talk about him now. So I'll talk about him once, thingamajig. Back to the banner. So Oscar, I thought, was a slightly odd choice. If I was personally, I hope he doesn't get hit. Personally, if I was to do a Path of Radiance only banner, focusing on Path of Radiance characters, the ones that stood out, I would have gone, first of all, I would have saved Oscar for a Grail Mercenaries banner, where you've got Rolf, Boyd, Oscar, and Reese as 4 of them, and then maybe in the next one, in another Grail Mercenaries banner, you have, say, Gatetree, Shinon, maybe they could put Graylin as a unit, and one other character. I'm trying to think. No, because we've already got everything else. Maybe they want to put in like Mia. Maybe they want to put in Mia, because Mia's what do we call it? Isn't there yet, and she does sign on quite quite early game. So I thought it was kind of odd, but I would have gone with, if it was up to me, probably either do Nasir, because he plays a lot in it, and it would have been cool to have another dragon unit, or Ina, one of those two. I doubt they would have done Ashnard, because if anything, villains usually grant hero battles. I would have possibly gone with maybe Kanagus. No, actually, save that for a Lagoose King's banner. Kanagus, Queen Nalia, Tibon, and Nasala. Yeah, totally. Or they could have put Ranulf in the banner because he plays a lot. I would have think it would have made more sense. Or they could have done Jill because she does a lot in Path of Radiance and she has a really good character arc. Yeah, so I reckon characters like that would have made more sense. Also, it would have been better than having just like 2 Lance units because Nephi's already there. But for what it is, it's fine. From what I've seen with the data mine, Nephi's meant to be really good, so that's cool. And of course, there's the issue of the Black Knight, and I've seen the data mine, and oh my fucking god, let's talk about Jaffar. Okay, so Jaffar is so good that even though his growth rates aren't so great, even though for people they're not too bad, he could kind of solo this game, kind of. I say that because thanks to his class, his avoid and stuff is really high, and even though his strength ain't great, he crits so much and he activates his things so much it doesn't matter because he comes in with really good speed and skill. I think his defense is actually not too bad for the thing either. His luck isn't very good. His strength's 19, so yeah, that's something. So he comes in, and even though his growth rates are low, it doesn't matter because, oh my god, Lynch is like, fuck you, I'm taking the bow. You have no idea how fast I am. So Jaffar just comes in really strong, he stays really strong. I wouldn't be surprised if, even if you don't use Jaffar much, you just take him straight to the end game and he wrecks all kind of shit. Jaffar is just really fucking good. I say he's one of the best pre-promotes in Fire Emblem. And I really like his character too, because he does kind of have an interesting redemption arc, and his support's really interesting, especially one with Matthew, where Matthew does try to kill him, but he brings up, even though he did kill Leela, right at the end, the last person she fought of was Matthew, and I thought that was absolutely adorable. So Jaffar I really like. If you're looking for like a really good assassin or just strong pre-promote, go for it. You don't have to use him, but he's easily one of the best units in this game. Jaffar is downright disgusting. I mean, perhaps Matthew and Legault can be better in the long run, but Jaffar is just... God damn, Jaffar is something else. But anyway, getting back to the Black Knight, I've seen his thing, and thanks to his skill, like, for an armored unit, he's really fucking strong. So, there's that. Not strong, sorry. He's really fucking fast, which people question, but in Path of Radiance, he was really fast, he had a really high speed. Which also just makes sense because he's trained all his life, and like Zelkis has trained all his life in armor, so to him it's natural. And I think it gives him an edge, like a fast armor unit that's dangerous. And the reason people like complaining that he's so OP, I like the fact that he's so OP because it plays into Path of Radiance. Like in Radiant Dawn, he wasn't as OP, but in Path of Radiance, he was stupidly OP. Like here's the thing: even when you faced him with a max level Ike, which I did. Unless you activated Aoife, you weren't going to win that fight. You could double him and stuff, but he was just way too strong. Like, the Black Knight is one of the strongest people in the Fire Emblem universe, and Heroes is meant to reflect that. I mean, it might be difficult for people when, they have to face him against, like, when they go in arena doors and all they do is just use Black Knight and just wreck shit, but I reckon he won't be impossible. Like, I reckon a good Reinhardt could take him down. Or maybe, if they're lucky, like, if you get Effie and give her, do the skill transfer thing, and she gets, like, a thingy lance, then, like, a armor slayer lance, then I reckon she could, take him down, because Effie has Worry Fire, so he couldn't double her, and she's got more than enough attack to do some damage, and he's also, she's also got an advantage against him, so I reckon that could work. Hell, it'd be hilarious if I use my Gwendolyn as because my Gwendolyn has one of those weapons. She has either killer or armor, depending on the map. I'll switch between you. Usually I keep to killer, but if it's like Sophia, switch to armor. And also, Sophia's been made redundant. Sorry, Sophia, you've been made redundant because of Black Knight. But I love the fact that he's so strong. It just, for me, it makes sense because he is the Black Knight. He's meant to be that strong. And this is what you get for bolting me, you bitch. I'll fucking take you down. Downtown. Let's go. And she's dead. Yeah. Sorry, but, that's what you get for trying to bolt me, you bitch. I had to hard mode, it's definitely a lot more difficult. Does she get a good level up for killing her? I think she does. No, she doesn't. No, she's got speed. That's the thing about Isadora, she's kind of like Gwendolyn. Most of her stats are really good, but her strength isn't. But to be fair, it's just more of a case of Isidora isn't known for good strength, or Isidora's not known for good strength. Gwendolyn at least had a 40% strength growth, so I expected it to be better, even though she didn't take House of Feel. Still kind of marveling at that. That's the one thing I'm never going to live down. I had Gwendolyn took down Zephyr. I'm going to hold that on my record forever. That and Lynn having higher strength than Hector at one point, as well as higher strength and speed, on top of Sophia doubling by chapter 15. I wonder what other Fire Emblem milestones I'll make for myself. I can't wait till we get to maybe I do something amazing in Radiant Dawn, or in Conquest I don't know, maybe one of the units just goes nuts, or trying to think of, or maybe in Echoes I get if I got RNG Blessed in Echoes, that'd be really strange, because Echoes just has low growth rates as a whole, so that'd be really interesting. May gets 5 level ups every time. It's this is not meant to happen, this is not meant to happen. So that's what I think of the ban. I think it's cool. I hope that this also leans itself to we get more Tellius banners for specific characters, I say Grail Mercenaries banner. I want to see a Bennion banner. That would be awesome. You have, even though I've already got Saniki, you have Zelgius by himself, who I reckon would function pretty much the same as the Black Knight in terms of most stats, that he wouldn't have Distant Counter and a Londite, he'd probably just have a Silver Blade, because in his artwork he's depicted with one. But while that may sound crappy, at the same time, he could also, I reckon, even though I don't know if their stats are any different, oh yeah, the thing's over now. Even though I can't remember if the stats are different or they are the same, because of how it plays out in the cutscenes, I would have given Zelgius a higher attack stat, because if you see in Radiant Dawn, he just he absolutely destroys Skimir and stuff, just decimates him. And you know what's funny? Apparently, if you go into get Zelgius's numbers and stats and equipment when he fights Fingerjig, apparently he's wielding an iron sword. I know his artwork depicts him with a silver blade, and in cutscenes he's got a silver blade. But in the actual in-game, apparently he almost killed him with just an iron sword. Jesus Christ, Zelgius, you do not fuck around. So I think if they were to do that, I'd like to see a Zelgius banner where he's he's not as well-rounded as the Black Knight, but he just hits really fucking hard. So any green unit just dead. And any magic unit, dead. I'd love to see Sigrid and Tanith get their own, become part of it as well. And if they wanted to, if they were going to do Bennion, perhaps include Marcia, because she technically was part of Bennion before, even though, she moved out. I can't think of anyone else, because I don't want the Senators of Bennion in that banner. I actually want to put Leviel in, because No, Bennion. Put Sephiroth in the banner. Yeah, totally. Sephiroth could be really cool. He'd probably be a staff user, but he'd be one of the best one because he has the Ashura staff. It'd be cool if he had the Ashura staff, and one of his effects is it has it's got one of those effects, the things where it takes a couple of turns to activate their effect. One of those things. It takes maybe 10 turns, but if you do it, everyone gets a full heal. Oh yeah, he does take Ursa's Quintessence, yeah. So like I said, Eliwood doesn't kill anyone. Thingy does. Also, about that morphs sprite, even though it's sprite, it looked androgynous to me. If you look at the artwork, it definitely looks female, but it looked like such an androgynous sprite. Sometimes I said look male, so I know Murdoch gets informed about all the shit that went down, so that happens. Other banners I'd like to see Tellis related, Dawn Brigade banner, that'd be cool. I'd like to see also a Dayan banner. Not Dawn Brigade one, specifically maybe a Jill, Xerox, Toronio, and either Tormod or what do you call it? Is Tormod part of Dayan? I just remember he was in he helped with Makai's thing. Maybe Soph would be part of the Dawn Brigade band. I'm trying to think of other Dayan units who would really, because the ones that stick out to me are Xerox, Jill, and Torano. I think it's Torano. Sorry if I mispronounced the name, but yeah, stuff like that. So that'd be a cool banner. Lagoo's banner would be awesome, where you get Ranulf and Yuki and Janeth, stuff like that. Maybe the Herons. Yeah. But before I get on to the next point, so right now, you can see the mum's really she's really delighted in an evil way about Thingamajig. The fact that she's going to get the throne. But this is one of my favorite moments with Eliwood. Even though he does want the the Shrine of Seals, he does bring up a important point, how do you, he's really confronting her about, is your son just a pawn to you? Do you actually care about him? Or, are you just using him for things? And, even though he is being insolent, as she says, he does bring up a good point, because she doesn't know about what happened, but we'll find out later she does thingamajig. And he doesn't, like, say, like, she's awful. He just says, like, why are you like this? But she doesn't know what's going on, so to her, she just thinks it's speaking, things. So Elwood does, at first it looks like he blew it, but she finds out later. You know what's really funny though? Elwood does it in a very calm manner, and I reckon Lynn would have too, but if Hector spoke up, he would have said something so insulting, he would have got the jazz treatment. I can see Hector getting thrown out the castle for being really rude. It would have been something like this. Yeah, that's what would have happened. So Mullock informs Thingy as to what happened and, everything that went down. Oh, so even though Elwood does kind of feel sad that, Hector seems to be okay. It's like, how do you feel after getting thrown out? Oh, my face hurts, but he does kind of feel sad that he ultimately blew their chance, but everyone's like, look, Elwood, you said the right thing. At the end of the day, we felt the same way. You just had the courage to actually say it. And I like that about Thingy. He is honest. He puts Safiel's well-being and like how everyone feels towards him over the Shrine of Seals. Because again, everyone knows like Safiel's been through so much. He doesn't deserve this, and it's really sad. And I wonder if did Safiel know who saved him? Because if he didn't, then I can see why he would just off Hector without trying. Even if he did remember, I reckon at that point he'd care so little. But it would have been cool if maybe I don't know whether he did remember who saved him or not, but maybe if he did remember and he knew it was Elwood, Hector, and Lynn, maybe when he heats Hector again, maybe they do a remake, he might bring back to that. It's like, I thank you for saving me from what happened, but one good act does not change the fact that humanity is still vile. Stuff like that. And, the Queen, she found out what happened, and now she's had a complete change of heart. And this is a very touching moment, but when looking at the grand scheme of things, this is also really fucking sad. What happens when Safiel comes back into the picture? And we also get another heaven seal. It was meant to be a wedding present, but Hector's gonna get it. Sorry for throwing it out the house. Here, have this. Yes. So, we get the thing we want. At the end of the day, we get more out of it for being honest. Honesty is the best policy. That's how I feel when I do stuff. I'm always honest. And when we see with Safiel, because of what happened, she tries, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I reckon she does make an effort to fix things up with Desmond. She doesn't care for the throne, she just wants to be a good thingamajig. And she won't mind Guinevere's mum, she'll be fine with Guinevere being there. So they're all on board, but at the end of the day, Desmond is the one who, But my thing is, if they had more time, the coming of age ceremony wasn't today, let's say it was a week ago, and they had time to build up the relationship from there, and then maybe explain more about what happened, do you think Desmond would have had a change of heart? If he saw that everyone, all the family were literally come on, we just want to live together, we don't want any of this. Do you think he would have changed? Because I reckon at some point, especially seeing Guinevere, he might, I reckon he might be a little bitter towards Safiel, but I doubt he would have tried to kill him. I think here at this point it's a little too late. So it is really this is a really uplifting revelation for Safiel's mum and him. They all just want to be together, but because of one arrogant asshole, we get Binding Blade. How cool would it have been? Let's say for instance, how cool would it have been if Safiel did turn out good in the end, and when Roy and stuff were born, he maybe tutored Roy. He was one of his teachers. Could you imagine if Elwood saving Safiel and then Safiel goes on to teach Roy, and then Roy becomes good for a reason. He's worthy of the Binding Blade for a legit reason, and Hector doesn't have to die. Though to be fair, something tells me that because of his beard is why probably his wife left him. It's wife didn't die, she just didn't dig the beard. She can't. That woman knows nothing. But anyway. So, thank you all for joining me. The worst is over with, ladies and gentlemen, and next time we'll be moving on to the best, as my favourite part of this game. And this is also where the Q&A session will start, but I've also got to talk about warriors because there's something interesting to bring up, which I couldn't do in this part, in the next part. But until then, thank you all very much for watching. The night is darkest before the dawn, and the dawn is definitely coming. So tune in next time to see Nino level up like crazy. See you then. Thank you very much. Goodbye.